Welcome to Small Business Big Visibility. This is one video out of many on a mini series on delegating. Business owners need to learn this skill. If you haven't watched some of the other episodes, go back and watch some of the others before. And then when you're done with this one, make sure you watch some of the other ones that we have in this series as well. Today, we're talking about the pitfalls that you'll want to make sure you avoid when you are delegating. Now, it doesn't matter if you're brand new and never delegated before, or if you've been doing this for a while, these pitfalls can sneak up and grab you and you didn't even realize it was happening. The number one pitfall that I've seen for a small business where they're just getting started, that they make in delegating, they'll be like, okay, I'm taking this hat off my head, I'm putting it on your head, and I'm going to have you be the director of operations. And they give them a title. Now, why do you think it's so terrible? Like, we as a small business owner wear hats all the time. We wear a stack of them all the time. Why do you think it's so terrible to take that hat off and put it on someone else's head and give them a title? The hat's not the problem. The title is. When you're giving someone a title, oftentimes it creates confusion, especially in a small business. In a small business, things are dynamic and fluid. And rather than titles, you want to give them responsibilities. This happened to me. I've seen it happen to a ton of other businesses as well. They give the employee a title, and all of a sudden that employee thinks, oh, I have all this authority to do whatever I want. And they start not listening to the owner and not doing it the owner's way because, well, I am the director of this, or I'm the manager of this, or I'm the head of this division, when really there's only one of them, or maybe one person below them. And so the titles often create a level of arrogance and a level of pride that is an unhealthy kind of pride, where they think that they are superior to others. And then the other issue is they'll say, well, that doesn't match my title. If you say, hey, could you maybe just handle this for me today because I got these other problems? They're like, oh no, that's not in my title. Well, you're right, it's not, but we're also kind of a fluid company, and if you could just handle that really quick, I'd appreciate it. So again, titles, first thing to be aware of when you're delegating, avoid them until you need them. All right, the next one is not being clear on expectations. If I tell somebody that, hey, I want you to be in charge of this job over here and make sure the job gets done, and I don't explain what it looks like when the job is done, they're going to use their best judgment. And they're going to say, oh, when the job's done, that probably means that I've cleaned up. And if I'm a landscaping company, maybe we've gone in, put the grass on, and we're all finished. Where in my mind, I'm thinking, we're the landscaping company, we're going to come in, we're going to level the ground, we're going to make sure the customer approves how the ground looks. We're going to come in after that and prep it so that we can lay the sod, make sure that the ground is moist enough to receive the sod. We're going to put the sod down, tuck it in tight, roll it, then we're going to have the customer come out and walk with us. That's my expectation of how the job should be done, right? But if I didn't train that employee on what those expectations are when the job is complete, then they're going to do it their way, and it may not match the way that your business and your brand is set up. So the next one is clear expectations. What does the finished product look like for them? Whatever that responsibility is. Maybe you just give them the responsibility of replying to emails, and you don't tell them what that looks like, and you don't explain to them how they should be owning that, then they're going to just do whatever they feel like. So the second one is make sure they understand what the outcome looks like when they own a job. All right. The third one is related to the second one, and it is make sure you give them the steps that they should follow, the procedure, in order to get to that desired outcome. Now, it's important you give them both the desired outcome and the steps, because sometimes the steps won't get to that final outcome, and you want them to make sure they understand the goal is to get the final outcome, not just do the steps, but the steps are a guideline that will most of the time get you to that final outcome. So step 3, make sure that you're not messing this up. Make sure you give them the steps they should follow so that they can get to that desired outcome. Number 4 is related to the previous 2. It is make sure you train them on the proper way to do the steps. If you don't give them the training of how you do each one of those steps, it's going to be a mess. Could you imagine someone who's never cooked before in their entire life, and they pull out a recipe card and it says 3 eggs. Oh, okay. They go get 3 eggs out of the fridge and drop them in the bowl. They don't crack them. They don't remove the shell. They just drop them in the bowl. How disgusting would that result be? But if you'd given them proper training ahead of time, they would know, oh, when it says 3 eggs, that means I crack the eggs, throw the shell away, right? Pretty basic example, but that kind of a concept often gets missed. So in a business, when you're delegating, make sure you give them, this is the result we're looking for. These are the steps you follow. And for each step, this is the process that you should be going through for each one of those steps. That's number 4. Number 5 is related again to those previous ones. This one is you need to tell them when they should be coming to you, when the problem is big enough that they need to come to you for assistance. And that's going to shift over time as they gain experience and as they gain wisdom in this. So number 5 is when they should come to you and approach you for help in solving those problems. Number 6, very similar to number 5, is these are the times when it's okay for you to solve the problem yourself. So let's say you followed all those steps, the procedures for each one of those steps, and it's not getting you to the result. This is when you're going to solve it yourself. And then this is the other one, related again, 5 and 6. When you come to me, when you solve it yourself. Those are the procedures you need to have in case the procedures don't work. So they're backup procedures to the procedures so the employee knows what to do. So if you don't have that, that's another one of the major mistakes I've seen for business owners that are trying to delegate. Now, the last 3 are all very closely related, and it all comes in to checking up on them. So often when someone delegates, they just kind of lob the responsibility over the fence and we're like, whew, sure hope Bob takes care of that. But instead, we need to go through all that training, all the procedures, and then you need to check in with the employee and see how they're doing, how they think they're doing. That's critical, but it's not good enough to just ask the employee. I can't emphasize enough how important this is. You check with the employee, but that's not enough. You also have to go in, you have to check on the work that they're doing. So there's 2 sides to that. You ask them how they think they're doing, then you look at the work and see if that matches what they're saying. The next piece you're going to do is if they have any connection to customers at all, you go check in with the customer at some point. Hey, how's it going? How's Bob doing? How's the process? How is the product? Is everything satisfactory? You do those 3 things, you're going to be successful. If you're not doing those 3 things, you're leaving yourself wide open for mistakes. Again, there's a ton of pitfalls you can have when you're first delegating or when you have been delegating for a while. But if you make sure you don't miss any of the ones I just outlined, you've got a far higher probability that delegating is going to go really well and you're going to have the kind of success you've been looking for.